don't know. This my intro song always get me dancing. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're tuning from. Thank you for joining in and welcome to the All Mercy Psychiatry and Integrative Care podcast, where we explore the many dimensions of mental health, healing, and the whole wellness of a person or of a community. I am your host again, Mercy Ngeusang, Doctor of Nursing Practice, a psychiatric mental health professional, and many, many more. Advocate for equity, believer in the passion and the power of compassionate care. Today's episode is one that we believe is essential for both personal growth and systemic change, not only for your mental health, but for the community and the society as a whole. Diversity and inclusion. Diversity is more than just a representation, as we all know. It is about embracing our differences in race, in gender, in culture, in our ability, in our religion, and so much more. Inclusion is about making space for those differences to thrive. In the world of mental health, in our workplaces, in our communities, everywhere, this topic matters. In the conversation, we are going to explore how diversity and inclusion show up in our lives, why they matter, and how we can do the work, all of us, to build more inclusive spaces where every voice feels heard, respected, and valued. I have no other here today than Dr. Harper to share this conversation with me. Dr. Harper, you are highly welcome. I'm honored to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you. And good morning, doctors. It's a pleasure to be here today. I want to thank the listening audience for tuning in today. Praise God, whom all blessings flow. I ask the Holy Spirit today to be with me as I humbly accept the task of speaking today on diversity and inclusion. This subject is in the forefront of the America today. While we are facing uncertain times, uncertain circumstances that may have already will affect our livelihoods. So for others, it may already have affected you, your business, due to federal government funding now gone. Um, so again, and I want to now just get right in and start.
Thank you. And thank you for that prayer in the beginning. Thank you. Thank you so much. Why do you believe that diversity and inclusion are important in today's society?
I believe that inclusion has to do a lot with how people feel, how they feel they belong. It does not matter if the CEO says, I have an organization that people feel that they belong. It is in the eye of the employee.
Thank you about it. Yeah. If people don't feel belong, if people don't feel accepted, if people don't feel like they value, if people don't feel like their voices are being heard as well, then
And
they don't feel like they are part of it.
right. And they have to feel respected, welcomed, and appreciated. So say to your employees, I really appreciate you for being here. I
Right,
appreciate what part you're playing in helping my organization or our organization be a better one.
right.
They love that. They love that. And they love to feel valued. And so this includes organizations, communities, as well as churches.
Right.
Many times in our church, we don't feel respected. So we need to do something.
Right. Right. To me, I feel like recognizing, respecting, and valuing the differences that make us who we are sets the background, sets the foundation of being included, meaning like we are really actively creating environments where you embrace my differences and I embrace yours. We are not just tolerating, but we are embracing each other. To me, I feel like that is inclusion. And in our society today, why is it important? Because we are interconnected.
Mhm.
Our world is beautiful, as complex as it is beautiful. And when we fail to acknowledge that, when we fail to stay connected, we limit our innovation, we limit our compassion, we limit above all our progress, because diversity and inclusion are not just moral imperatives. They are essential for growth, they are essential for health, they are essential for equity, they are essential for justice, and for any meaningful human connection. So, yes, it is important in our society. And I want you, Dr. Harper, if you can please share a moment when you first became aware of the impact or of inclusion or of lack of inclusion.
Well, as you know, I've worked in many mental health facilities. I've also worked with alcohol and drug uh, uh, customers or patients. And what I find is that the clients who are well off are treated very differently than those that are poor. So, what I've always tried to do is be that extra eye in an organization. And if I see that happening, I will bring that to the attention of the EO. Because
Right,
then they would know that they need to meet with that person so that person will feel inclusive. So, as a result of that, we were able to set up uh, a box that the clients could put their information in with regards to not feeling inclusive, not feeling that they were being treated fair.
right,
Joe would make an appointment with them. They could sit with him and they could talk to him so that they would not feel excluded, that they would be included. And
right.
time he did that, he made a change. So that has been my experience. However, when we have paraprofessionals working with us, the ones that sit at the front desk, we don't seem to respect them. We don't seem to respect the fact that they need a break. We need to give them a. So many times as a counselor, I would skip my break and say, "Do you need to take a lunch break?"
Oh, that is sweet.
That spot and let them breathe.
Mm-hmm.
Also, been able them to understand that at your desk, it should represent your family.
Mm-hmm.
Bring some pictures of your daughters or
Oh,
your moms and put that just in your little space that you have. And take a carpet, just cut out a piece of carpet, put it under your desk, and put your feet on top of it when you're feeling stressed.
mm-hmm.
Yes. Um, and so they were much happier when they came in. I also said, don't just wear anything. You need to look beautiful.
Fashionable, like you are looking.
Yeah, because you never know who you're going to meet.
Yes.
And one of our paraprofessionals had gotten a job offer when she was on the elevator. How about that?
How about that? How about that? That is wonderful. How about that? Have you felt, I mean, personal on a personal level, Dr. Harper, have you like felt excluded somehow or marginalized in a space?
Of
If
course.
yes, how did that shape your perspective?
Well, that shaped my perspective in the sense that I had to do more reading. I had to learn more about the culture I was involved in, particularly being the only Black. Okay. And during meetings, many times, I would have people ask me questions about our Black clients as we were discussing them, as if I knew every Black person in the world.
Mm-hmm.
I had to explain to them that we have Blacks from the North, the East, the West. I have no idea of everybody's thought or
Right.
I'd be able to help them. So I said, simply speak to them.
Mm-hmm.
I am the only Black here. It does not mean that you cannot work with it. And so I was able to teach uh, the Caucasians working with that all you have to do is meet the client where they are and
Okay.
don't assume anything.
Mm-hmm.
After you meet with them 3 times, I'm sure you will form a rapport.
Yeah, there will be something that will connect you guys. To me, as an immigrant and as a woman of color, being in healthcare for so long, I think I've been in some rooms where I felt like my voice was underestimated. So because I do what I do, because I can process things easily and help people and teach people to also not feel marginalized or excluded or how to process that feelings, it makes me more empathetic to other silent struggles. I can handle it, but can others do? So it taught me like I have to notice who is missing from the table and how do I speak on their behalf when needed. Yeah, because I can handle it doesn't mean that I have to handle it, and it doesn't mean that everyone can handle it.
Mhm.
Maybe I can handle it because of the expertise I have gained in what I do, and I can process it. But it also made me become, how about the other people who
Right.
are not able to handle it? How about the others
Absolutely.
who that exclusion and making them feel marginalized can affect their mental health and can affect them as a person? How about that? So it just made me feel more empathetic and let me be the voice of those that cannot be heard. Are you missing from the table? Let me be your representation. Are you that black colored woman? Let me be your representation. And let me also teach you how to navigate that. And those are some of the challenges. And I want to ask you, Dr. Harper, what challenges have you faced in promoting diversity and inclusion, maybe in your community, in your workplace, or wherever you are?
Well, I think I have to say that as a person that was born on a plantation, I had to deal with a lot. Okay. Diversity was not in anybody's forefront. So as a result of that, and having watched my uncle who sat out in the cold, and his hands and his feet were cold, and there was no heater. And,
Mm.
and when he came home, my responsibility was to make some warm water for his feet and as a child. My other responsibility was to go find the wood, chop it up, bring it back, start a fire. That was the responsibilities I had because I was trying to help my uncle feel human being. Um, Secondly, as I am the only person in my family with that nothing was. stop me. I had an after in my undergrad, after finishing the and I said, "Oh boy, I have a degree." I didn't
Mm-hmm. You didn't know that as an immigrant you could have a degree.
know. So I went to have an interview, and the person said to me, "Oh, we will have you on our staff. You're so easy to talk to. You would fit in very well." But I'm
Mm-hmm.
sorry, if only you had a bachelor's degree. Okay. After that, I this, well, let me go back to school, get my bachelor's, then went for still an interview
Mm-hmm.
so that you fit in nicely. We would love to have you. However, I'm afraid to hire you because you're just going to leave. And they didn't hire me. Imagine how that felt.
Wow.
So that I went on to get 2 masters and a doctor. So I feel very good because I feel like I'm in enough cultures that I will be able to stand whatever comes my
Right. And thank you for sharing that personal story.
way. Yes.
I know many people can relate to that.
Mm-hmm.
In my experience, I think uh, one challenge is that many people view diversity as a checkbox, like, oh, it's something that exists, okay,
Mm-hmm.
without committing to the ongoing work for change.
Exactly.
There can be resistance, there can be discomfort, or there can be denial. But
Right.
I've learned that the change starts with those consistent, compassionate dialogues and leading by example. How does all this different representation, race, gender, ability, culture, and all, why is it important in the media, in education, in leadership?
Well, it is because we need to, it's not work. I'm getting an, can you hear me better now?
I can hear you better. It's not going on and off right now. I think it is the network though. Let's try this one. Let's try and see.
Okay.
Yeah, why is representation across different identities important?
Well, in order to live in a world where we're going to need one another, we have to have representation from all different areas.
Mm-hmm.
And so we need to start in our workplace so that every voice is heard. And we need to have discussions then about race and gender and the ability of these important issues uh, to be done by media. We need
Right,
some PAs about these things. We need to have groups where we read about this. Uh, and we need to bring in people for training so that they can help us navigate that representation.
mm-hmm.
Because just to hire someone and bring them in, and you know nothing about their culture, uh,
Absolutely.
you're doing them. They may have a language barrier. Could we not hire an interpreter to make that easier for us?
Mm-hmm.
Um, at the time of the impact of representation, we need to go beyond tokenism because diversity is a means of fostering creativity,
Yeah,
innovation, and critical thinking within the team.
I love that. I love that. Innovation
So,
and critical thinking. Yep.
mhm, yeah, and we need to begin to see. unique viewpoints based
Mhm.
on your race, your gender, your sexual orientation, and that will enhance problem solving at your organization. You will
Yes.
see that you're not having more problems between your subordinates. Then you're going to tap into those talents and those skills of their diversity, and that will help you to be a better leader because you will have more insight. You will be meeting the needs of your subordinates. And
Yes.
trust me, they will love you.
Yes. And I love that piece that you just said. And if I can say what I want to say, I think you've said it all. I can just say that with representation, all representation is saying is that you belong. You matter, you matter, you matter. When people see themselves reflected in leadership, when
Hmm.
people see themselves reflected in the media,
Hmm.
people see themselves reflected in whatever curriculum or job description or
Yes,
what values those things have, it
yes,
affirms their identity further and expands what that belief is possible.
absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, because when diversity is a beauty, it's a creation of what else can we do together. Let me say my own reasoning to me alone is just 5%. Now, when you bring your own 5% or 10%, and the other person brings their own 2% or 100%, what can we do? We see that the percentages are only expanding.
Hmm.
That is diversity. And when we feel inclusive, that's when productivity rises because I
Hmm.
don't have to shrink to belong. I have to grow and still feel inclusive. I have to be myself and expand. So
Hmm.
that's what diversity and inclusion. And I'll ask you as we are saying this, are there groups that tend to be overlooked in diversity? How can we bring them into the conversation?
Think you bring them in to the conversation by sitting with them and listening to what they have to say. And don't take it personal. If you're taking it personal, then you need to meet with some person who specializes in diversity and inclusion. And that means that you're going to grow, you're going to change, and there's nothing wrong with that. And I
Mm-mm.
also want to say to leaders to be inclusive. If you see something needing to be done, you can help. Roll your sleeves up and go help your staff
Yes.
and ask them if you need help. If they say, I don't understand what you're saying,
Uh-huh.
then go ahead and hire someone to meet with that person so that they understand what the language.
Absolutely. And I want to share this. Eddie says, we love you, Dr. Harper. Thank you for having us. Please, Eddie, Katrina, as you guys are watching, share. I'm going to have her come back probably next time with better connection so that we can get all these riches that she is sharing. I'm not sure why her connection is doing this today, but yeah, she'll come back with better connection. She has a lot to say, and I really want her voice to be heard because there is so much in what she's saying. I want to read a little bit what Katrina is saying. We are more connected than we are separate.
Mhm.
We are more than our color. Imagine a world where we seek and build from our similarities instead of pointing out our differences. I
Yeah,
think I think that is all the show is about today. I think we can end the show now with that.
absolutely,
I think we are
absolutely.
good, Katrina. I think that's it, Katrina. I think you've said it all, what we've been trying to say. I think you said it in one piece. So thank you, thank you, thank you for those comments. Share, let others benefit from it. Keep the questions coming. And I want to ask you again. because we keep talking about, are there groups that tend to be overlooked in
Mhm.
diversity efforts? It depends on what kind of efforts we are making. Are they
Mhm.
genuine efforts? Are they efforts that will lead change? Or are there efforts that we are just saying, oh, let my voice also be heard that I spoke about diversity?
Mhm.
You have individuals with disabilities, you have neurodivergent people, you have the
Yes.
older adults. You started by talking about ageism. You have the older
Mm.
adults. You have those from lower socioeconomic backgrounds. Most of the time, all these that I just mentioned are left out.
Yes.
We bring them in by asking who is not at the table, how do we represent everybody, and then we should intentionally invite them, listen to them.
Mhm.
It is not just to show that we are there. We should
Yes.
co-create,
Yes.
co-create,
Mhm.
involve them, engage them,
Mhm.
and you can see what that will lead to. For those who have not embraced diversity and inclusion, you're missing out.
Yes. Very much so.
Very much so, you're missing out. You are missing out, which is leading me to this next question. What are some ways people can uncover and address their unconscious biases? Because, yes, we do have a lot of unconscious biases. Sometimes we claim we don't know about them, but yes,
Mhm.
we know that sometimes we judge people for nothing. We don't even know them. I think for
Mhm.
me, I can start by saying humility.
Mhm.
Be humble. Because some
Yes.
of those biases come because we think we are superior to the other person. Just be
Absolutely.
humble. Take the implicit bias test. There are many people that will give you a test. Google it. Take the implicit bias test. Seek diverse
Mhm.
perspective. It is not one size fits all. It's not you know it all. Seek diverse perspective. Reflect on your own assumptions. Don't just judge. Don't just assume, because bias is not a character flaw like people think. It is not a character flaw. I always say it is a
Mhm.
mental shortcut.
Absolutely.
We are responsible for unlearning what no longer serves us or others. It is not a character flaw. You have built it up to that extent. Unlearn those consciously.
Mhm.
Unlearn them. What do you have to say about that, Dr. Harper?
Well, let's think about this for a minute. A lot of us, when we look at women, we say you're a caregiver. So says the leader who said to the woman, "Could you get me a cup of coffee?" Um, Most of us feel like men are fixers. They fix things. Not all men can fix things.
No.
So we need we need to define prejudice as well in favor of or against thing or person or
Mhm.
one group compared to another group. Because this can manifest judgmental endings. And
Yeah.
then we need to evaluate others only if you know their culture.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
you can't. We can't all be on the same bar. You can't use the
No.
same evaluation for every single person because you're
No.
going to end up pushing someone away or
Mhm.
making them feel very, very bad. So
Yes.
um, it's what women or people of color, even when the person consciously believes that sexism and racism are wrong, but we tend to do it. So that's called unconscious bias. So
Yeah.
sometimes we don't know we're doing it.
Mm-hmm. And
So
when we are conscious that we are doing it, we should immediately unlearn that before it becomes a habit. And when going to that, it keeps me in line with this. How do we have those productive conversations with people who may not see the need for diversity and inclusion?
absolutely, we need to elaborate more. through our perceptions of diversity. Don't
Yes.
see it as a threat. It's not a threat.
Mm-mm.
It's inclusion. It's bringing people together.
It's
Uh,
growth.
It's growth. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's growth.
Um, there's there's a surface level of sensitivity
Mm.
that exists through cultural customization. And so we need to begin to figure out how our perceptions have just allowed us to go the wrong way.
Right.
Keep your perceptions unless you're sure of what you're perceiving.
Okay. 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 And I want to
Yes.
add that sometimes we just have to meet them where they are. Share personal
Yes.
stories instead of just data. Data alone is just information. It's not, it's most of the time, if we don't use the data, if we just see it without using it, it doesn't create that change. And we have to create space for discomfort and for curiosity.
Hmm.
Maybe uncomfortable. It's a sensitive conversation. You're uncomfortable, but let's talk about it. Be vulnerable. Tell me what you think, what you feel. Do you belong? What can I do to make you feel belong? Because you matter, and I want to make sure that your voice is heard. We need to create those spaces, and change will rarely happen through shame. It happens
Yes.
through connection. It is
Yes.
okay if I feel different, if I feel like I don't belong. How do we create that connection for a change to happen is what we are saying. And what are some common misconceptions about diversity at work?
Well, I think if we stop thinking it's solely about race, gender, we can move forward because it
Mm-hmm.
benefits not just certain groups, it benefits us all. Some of us say it's an HR problem. HR is not going to do it for you because
No.
HR is not on the floor with you. You need the people that's right in front of you. It's simple. Sitting around the table and asking everyone, do you feel like you belong here?
Yeah.
And allowing them to raise their hand. Oh my
Right.
God. And
Yeah.
allowing them to say, no, I don't feel I belong because. Just have them write that out and come
Mm-hmm.
to a meeting. And you listen and not judge. And
Listen
you
and not judge. I like that.
that's
Listen and
listen,
not judge.
that's right. And you want to tell the staff you're in charge of this meeting today. And
Yes.
we don't want anyone to say anything when that person is speaking. And then
Empowerment.
have, yes. And then you have someone to take notes, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not going to take those notes and go off by yourself and figure out why people don't feel that they belong. You're going to
Absolutely.
go back to that person and say,
Absolutely.
how can I make you feel belonged?
Right.
Really want to do this. And
Absolutely.
then when we talk about race and gender and sex and sexual orientation and religion and social economic status and disability, let's teach our subordinates what that all is.
Mm-hmm.
Just because one subordinate can do everything, that doesn't mean that the others don't have something to bring to the table. And just because the person who's not bringing something to the table uh, is felt by all the subordinates, they're not doing their job. Okay? You don't
And
know
maybe
why.
that person, yeah, we just have not exploited what that person can bring on the table. Because
Yes.
when we talk about diversity, if we don't handle diversity with care, it will
Hmm.
become very divisive,
Yes. Yes.
and we will miss the harm that comes from exclusion.
Exactly.
That's
Exactly.
all. Yeah, that's all I can say. If we
Hmm.
think diversity is being divided,
Hmm.
then there will be harm in exclusion because we'll think about, oh, they are different. Oh, she's different. Oh,
Yes.
this, oh, she looks different. Oh, he looks different. Oh,
Yeah.
this one has nothing to offer. We will
Mhm.
assume, we will judge, and then we will isolate, and
That's right.
that will cause a harm because of exclusion. And it leads me to this, Dr. Harper. What practical steps can individuals take to become better allies, to become integrated, to become together, to become inclusive?
Hmm. Well, excuse me. Let me drink some water.
Yeah. I want,
We need to address our implicit biases. We need to acknowledge that we have them.
yeah.
We need to invest in employee resources, okay?
Mhm.
And we need to offer mentorship to those that need it.
Very important. Very,
We,
very important.
we need to engage with our employees. We
Hmm.
need to communicate with transparency. We need to evaluate diversity and inclusion programs on a regular basis,
Hmm.
not just when someone is coming to look at your program to see if you can get more funding.
Then that's why you fix. And I think that is answering the next question already, how we can foster, we're working with time, how we can foster inclusion in small everyday interactions, because it starts small. It
Okay,
starts small. It's not
right.
something that you just say, oh, it's going to change one day. Listen more, speak up, even when it is uncomfortable, educate yourself, be ready to educate others without placing the burden on the marginalized people. Let everybody pick up their spade and ready to dig.
Hmm.
Ask yourself,
That's
what is
right.
the privilege for me and what is the privilege for others?
Hmm.
Because by acknowledging those people, sometimes you walk in a room. I have worked in a place 2 years where somebody, my direct boss, did never call me by my name. Always like, what is your name again? What is your,
Hmm.
acknowledge people by their names, acknowledge them by who they are, ensure
Yes.
that everybody gets a chance to speak by
Yes.
being mindful. You said earlier about microaggressions. We
Mhm.
let microaggressions become so big when, if we had handled it, if we had been committed to deal with it, there would have been micro affirmations, not microaggressions. So
Exactly.
thank you. Yeah, thank you so much for bringing that up. Do you know of any resources, books, training? Would you recommend any for people who want to learn about diversity and inclusion?
Yes. Mary Frances Winters, who is a Black author, has a book called Black Fatigue: How Racism Erodes the Mind, Body, and Spirit.
Oh,
And and
okay. I
then we
want
have
that one myself.
and then
Mm-hmm.
we have a children's book. We need to start with our children. And that
Mm-hmm.
book titled Diversity Makes Us Stronger.
Diversity makes us stronger.
Yeah.
Diversity makes us become one. We are different yet, like your daughter said earlier, we should not point fingers on how different we are, but how unique and together we can be. And we are still talking about diversity. Do you see hope? What gives you hope that it will change or something good will come out of it?
I I believe there is hope because if people are listening now, I believe that they have learned something after this podcast. And we go back and read about different cultures. Uh, make it a plan today to read more, to get the
Mm-hmm.
training in your organization, to have basically a coming together of Jesus to make this work.
Absolutely.
No one knows the future like he does. So
Absolutely.
the key message for the listeners today, as we are running out of time, is to walk away with this topic of diversity and inclusion. Can you help? What can you do to change? Embrace the love of God, love
Mm-hmm.
yourself, and then you will know how to love others. If you don't love yourself, you're going to have a hard time with diversity and inclusion because you don't
Absolutely.
care, okay?
Absolutely.
You want to
Absolutely.
embrace people's differences, including their beliefs. Everyone
Yes.
have a right to their beliefs. Embrace abilities, preferences, backgrounds, values, and identities. So for me, I would like to thank our listening audience for being here today because we know that you did not have to come, but you did.
But
Thank
you
you.
did. Ah, Dr. Harper, thank you so much. And I want to share a little bit what gives me hope. The younger generation gives me hope. And I'm glad that you also talked about a book for children. We should start teaching and bringing the children up, raising them in a manner that they know that they are all different, but they are one. This younger generation coming up, they are bold, they are informed, and I believe most of them are unwilling to accept injustice as normal. They will not normalize injustice. So this gives me hope as a
Mhm.
mother. It gives me hope that our future will be more inclusive than our past. And
Yes.
we should also think that diversity and inclusion, they are not just destinations, they are our daily choices. It's not like today I'm not as they are our daily choices. Choose empathy, choose
Mhm.
openness, choose
Mhm.
to see people for who they really are, not just the labels that your brain or your mind have created them to be. So as we close, Dr. Harper, could you what work do you do? Share a little bit about yourself. What do you do? Where can they find you? And how can they support your initiatives and services?
Okay. Uh, I am uh, at this point doing life coaching, and I do it on my laptop. Today, my laptop is out of order, so I apologize for that. I do life coaching, and I do it mainly around individuals who have been battered, okay, for domestic violence, so that you understand domestic violence, and then you understand the effects that it's having on your children, and
Mm-hmm.
from you can make a decision as what you want to do with your life. And
Mm-hmm.
this is not about badgering the batterer, but it's about informing you on
Yes.
how you're hurting your children. And I invite the husband as well so he can learn some things and
Mm-hmm.
hopefully he will understand how he became a batterer, if you will. I also do life coaching around ages and stages of children. It's
Oh.
parents. So for new parents, we can start from when you're pregnant, so you know what the child is doing inside of you.
Mm-hmm.
Then, when the baby is, we can talk about what are your needs going to be, so that
Right.
we'll be able to have those needs met. Because most of us don't know, and as a result, we end up with postpartum depression.
Absolutely.
Um, I have a organization that is in Liberia now. So
Sister,
the name
sister.
of my organization, that's right, Sister, don't you know I love and that organization right now started off in 2022 with only 75 participants, and now we have 115. And I have been able through Holy Spirit and the Lord to send uh, funds over to these children so that they can have one meal and one clean drinking water per day, 5 days per week. I like to increase that. I'm going to be giving Dr. My information. So if you would like to donate, it will be most helpful. I am
Yes, I
also the
posted.
author of a book, and my book name is Sisterly Love. See, all of this love came about because I was diagnosed with cancer. I was able to have an operation. I was able to receive my treatment. And I looked up one day and I said, "Oh God, you've given me a second chance. How can
Amen.
I serve you?"
Amen.
And God was able to give me both of these. So thank you for allowing me to share.
Thank you so much, Dr. Harper. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And it's been a pleasure having all of you. Look at what your son say. Program like this promote progress. It shows that people want change. We know what the problem is, and we are all looking for a solution. Thank you, Eddie. And
Thank
on that note, I want to say that thank you all for choosing to be here today. In our podcast, we talk about everything relating to mental health. And guess what? Everything relates to mental health in our community today. So, thank you all for joining. I hope today's conversation on diversity and inclusion sparked a reflection in you. For those who watch and for those who we are going to post later and who watch later, I hope that it challenged some assumptions and inspired action for change. As we continue to build communities where everyone feels seen, feels heard, and feel valued, let's remember inclusion is not just a policy, it is about people. It starts with our everyday choices that we make
you.
to listen, to learn, and to lead with empathy. If you found today's episode meaningful, please subscribe. Please share with someone who needs to hear this and leave a review. You can also connect with our social media on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. We can put all the things there. And there is a book that I just published about communities. It touches a lot on diversity and inclusion as well. You can find it on Amazon. And mental health is a journey. Let's be kind to ourselves and to one another. And let us also know that diversity and inclusion are those everyday choices that we make. And those choices will affect our mental health. And our mental health is a journey. Together, let's take the wheels and ride well. So, thank you all. Thank you all. Thank you yet again. Thank you, our listeners. Thank you, our viewers. For those who listen and view later, you're always welcome. You can send us topics that you like for us to talk about, and we'll find people, or you can be our next guest. Thank you so much, and bye for now.